Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Naja and I make college or lifestyle related content. And in today's video, I will be finally reading my application essays that got me into Stanford, USC, NYU, Johns Hopkins, Georgia Tech, all the schools that I got into. And if this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, make sure to check out some of my other videos, my full college application story, how I got into Stanford, the truth behind admissions, and a bunch of my other advice videos, and you will get a full picture of like my application process, and maybe you'll get something out of it and you can apply that to your own college application process. So I've been getting a bunch of requests lately to read my essays. Can I read your essays? Can I read your essays? Can I read your essays? Can you make a video reading your essays? Can you share us with your essays? So in order to try to minimize all the questions that I get about reading my essays, having access to my essays, I am now just going to have one essay video on my channel, and I will also have my essays linked in my description and in the link in my Instagram bio. So yeah, if y'all see anybody asking for essays, be like, baby, it's in the bio, it's in the description, and she has a video on her channel, because I will no longer be answering like questions about essays, because literally my essays are everywhere and it's just been getting to be a little much. So if you see that, just share the word that my essays are where they are. Now I'll just have one central video where people can come and see what I sent to Stanford, what I sent to all my other schools. So if you're interested in hearing me read my essays, or if you've already read them and you want to hear them read aloud or whatever, make sure to keep watching. Also make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram if you have any questions. And don't forget to press that notification bell to get notified every time I post a new video. But let's just get right into this video. And before I start reading my actual essays, I want to give you guys some backstory. So I applied through QuestBridge to most of my schools, so I had a ton of essays. But in today's video, I'll be reading my main essay, my Common App, or like my personal essay that I also submitted to QuestBridge, and then I'll be reading a few supplements and like other longer essay questions. But if you want to see more of the Stanford specific supplements and QuestBridge specific supplements, I will have that linked in the description below, and you can go see how I tackled those questions. You know, there's different prompts you can choose for like the Common App, and there's also different prompts you can choose for QuestBridge, I believe. So the prompt that I chose says, "We're interested in learning more about you and the context in which you have grown up, formed your aspirations, and accomplished your academic successes. Please describe the factors and challenges that have most shaped your personal life and aspiration. How have these factors helped you to grow?" So that is the one that I chose to answer on my Common App. And if that's not like a specific one, I probably chose something about like my backstory, my childhood, or I just did the one where you can make your own prompt. But that's what it was for QuestBridge, so that's like my personal essay that everybody always talks about, so I'm just gonna go ahead and read that one. Also, within some of these essays, I'm going to omit some personal things like about my family and about like the names of my schools and stuff, so don't worry about that. But the essays are a little longer than I'm reading them out to be. Stepping out onto the balcony, I watched my father lay out the drop cloth on the dead grass. He drags a large, blank canvas to the center of the cloth before ascending the creaking wooden stairs. "Jackson Pollock," is all my dad says before opening various cans of leftover interior house paint. Without warning, he tosses a can of dark paint off of the balcony. I peer over the red railing, seeing the once white canvas now littered with black blobs. I now understand the lack of dialogue from my father, letting the artwork speak for itself. He continues to add layer after layer, color after color, saying true artwork is never completed. This artwork, now hanging in our living room, metaphorically represents my life, my upbringing, and how multiple layers make up who I am today. To say that growing up in a highly artistic, liberal household had an impact on me would be quite an understatement. For as long as I can remember, my parents have stressed the importance of creativity and ingenuity in addition to academics. With my mother being a jewelry designer and my father a filmmaker, I am surrounded by an aura of artistry. Even though the lack of permanent jobs led to the absence of health insurance and reliance on food stamps, I still admired my parents' way of life. While it took many failed attempts, my parents have each found a career that makes them happy. Their actions inspire me to stay true to my dreams despite what others may think. Since both are self-employed and work from home, I've been able to see their creative processes. This propelled me to mold a creative environment for myself. At a young age, I tried many aspects of art, such as drawing, painting, and photography. Although they could not afford actual lessons, my parents found every opportunity for me to explore these hobbies. From Friday night movie nights to monthly visits to Atlanta's High Museum of Art, they taught me that not only could art be used as a creative outlet, but also an enjoyable and flexible learning process. However, my parents did not want me to follow the path that they had taken. Complaining of the high cost of college, they emphasized the need for me to obtain scholarships and avoid the mistakes they made. Being a first-generation college student, I know I need to take advantage of my parents' wisdom in order to succeed. My mom often tells me the story of when her family migrated from India to New York. I can only imagine how challenging this transition was. It reminds me of how strong-willed and independent my mother is. After moving out on her own for college, she and my father began to raise a family, ensuring their children's success using whatever they could. From a very young age, my mother and father provided me with tools to expand my knowledge. My mother used to hang post-it notes around our apartment to teach me word association, and although my father was often away from home for work, he would read stories to me at night. After moving in 2005, I began to attend my high school, where my love for learning was born. Year after year, I found that school was something that I was good at. Earning good grades had always been the norm. My parents made sure my homework was completed before my bedtime at 9:30 every night. Watching television was not allowed on the weekdays, and later, when I got my first phone, it was to be turned in before I went to my room for the night. At the time, I saw no purpose in my parents' tactics, but in retrospect, I appreciate the measures they took to ensure my academic success. Despite the challenges my family and I have had to overcome, I would not change my life in any way. The combination of their early efforts and my enjoyment for learning has allowed me to become the high-achieving young woman I am today. Layer after layer, I will continue to build character through working towards my dream and making my parents proud. So that was like my personal essay. I literally submitted some version of that to all the schools that I applied to. I think for like Georgia Tech and Johns Hopkins, I made it a little more technical and talked like about art and like science and how that all like intertwines, but that was basically the basis or like the foundation of the essay that I sent. And like I said, it was a little longer than that. It was supposed to be 800 words or less, and mine was exactly 800 words. So that's what I submitted to all of my colleges. Okay, sorry about the fluctuating lighting, but now I'm about to read one QuestBridge supplement and one Stanford supplement, and then you guys can read the rest of those at the link in my description. But okay, so the next thing says, what do you admire most about your community? What would you improve? And all throughout this, I put the name of my high school, so I'm just gonna say my high school or my community when I say those things, okay? Waking up and traveling to the same place for nearly half of your life can allow you to find a constant routine. What I admire most about my community is its consistency, its dependability. Day in and day out, my community welcomes me into its ever-growing environment. With my school being the center of a once broken and crime-stricken area, I have been able to witness community revitalization, where students such as myself have been able to thrive. Although the area around it has changed, my school has provided a sense of constancy in my life. Since 2005, the safety and structure provided to me by the school has allowed me to become a high-achieving minority student. Being able to attend a school from cradle to college has been a privilege I hope many will take advantage of. Now, through the blank organization, many schools in Atlanta have the ability to provide the same educational opportunities for students and families. With my school serving as the model of success, we represent how low-income African American students can and will succeed expectations if given the proper resources. Along with the incoming success, awards, and grants, my school has begun to attract the attention of many families outside of our community. While this brings diversity and more money to the community, we should still attempt to preserve the history and culture of our community. In its infancy, my school was ranked 69th out of the 69 Atlanta public schools. Through hard work, we have been able to combat the poor perceptions of African American students. We can continue to serve the minority while welcoming the majority into the area. My community is experiencing radical gentrification with converging worlds of people from different racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic backgrounds. In my AP English language composition class, we had many discussions regarding current events in society. These topics warranted critical thinking and awareness about many issues that occur in our day-to-day lives. This brought up many questions about the historical happenings that led my school along this path. After conversations with my college counselor, I learned that in the past, there were stringent guidelines for families who desired to return to our community. Leaders of the revitalization plan required people to have a job and no previous felonies on their record. While the goal was to preserve the indigenous culture, it disproportionately impacted communities of color due to systematic racism. In turn, this made it extremely hard for people of color to gain access to the affordable housing and free schooling in this area. Years later, we can observe another round of gentrification in my community. In efforts to balance the negative effects of gentrification, my school utilizes a lottery system for admission. The lottery gives priority to students and families who live in our mixed income housing before extending it to others. I would improve this community by preserving the culture of my school and continuing to bridge the achievement gap. So that was what do you admire most about your community and what would you improve? That was one of the QuestBridge National College Match prompts, and that's what I submitted. It had to be about 500 words and mine was around 490 words. As you can see, I mostly use like all of my word count when I was submitting to my colleges. And now the last application essay that I will read is one of the Stanford ones. This is one of my favorite ones from Stanford, and it says, the Stanford community is deeply curious and driven to learn in and out of the classroom. Reflect on an idea or experience that makes you genuinely excited about learning. So it's not short, but it's not long at all. So it was just a little paragraph, so I'm just going to go ahead and read that next. Growing up in the public school system, I was often surrounded by students who hated school and had better things to do. As I grew older, I found it common that the public school environment was not suitable to promote success for each and every student. As a result, I am eager to start anew at a university that cultivates an atmosphere where learning is valued instead of just expected. The experience that makes me genuinely excited about learning is the same one that makes me thrilled about life after high school, attending college. Years of build-up, expectation, and motivation has made me look forward to finally leaving home and continuing my education on a higher level. It is where I will explore worlds of new information, meet a plethora of multifaceted people, and prepare myself for a better future. No longer will I be surrounded by students who do not care about school, but instead by those who value the opportunity to gain knowledge through a rigorous education. With an amazing class selection, professors who genuinely want to teach, and a highly collaborative academic environment, the idea of attending Stanford does nothing but excite me. So that was one of my Stanford essays. That was one of my favorite ones. And then, you know, Stanford had a lot of supplements, mini supplements and longer supplements. And I think I want to answer one more low-key. Okay, I also want to do another QuestBridge one that really highlighted like the art. Like, I wanted you guys to know that I really weaved art throughout my whole entire application because it's definitely a part of who I am, very integral. I'm a creative person. I grew up in a very creative household. I really emphasized that throughout my whole application, so I just want to read to you guys one more thing. If you watched my last video about how I got in with a low SAT, you remember I said you have to do PPT, passion, personality, theme. So this goes into my passion, and my theme of my application is like art. And I weaved some other stuff inside of there, but it was mostly about like being creative and stuff. So I just want to show you guys one more thing and how I tackled this essay. So this is a QuestBridge prompt. It said, if you could meet a character from a book or a historical figure, who would it be and what would you ask them? So I struggled so bad with this. I was like, I don't want to do like a very generic answer, but I ended up figuring it out, and now I'm just going to read it. Dozens of questions raced through my mind as I analyzed the artwork before me. With all the colors, scribbles, figures, what could it all be? Is there a meaning? What was going through his head as he put pen to paper, brush to canvas? Did he have a source of inspiration, or was this purely from the complexity of his mind? All of which I would ask Jean-Michel Basquiat himself, if I had the chance. All art tells a story, I would say. Yours entails the duality of art and race, of oppression and expression. In a time where your art was celebrated, but your skin color was not, you showed the world who you truly were through your artwork. Did this help you overcome your struggle of self-identity? As a young adult preparing to undergo major changes, your ideologies help shape my perspective. Your art illustrates that there is always a story to tell and a medium to tell it. It can be a creative outlet from the chaos that exists in each of our lives, especially in today's world. I will conclude our conversation with sincere gratitude for his courage to be himself and his growing legacy. That's like a really common essay prompt for, I know, for a lot of places, like if you could meet someone from the past, who would you meet? So those were my three, or how many did I read? Those are like 4 examples of college application essays that I submitted to all of my colleges, or most of them. Like I said, it's really just about expressing yourself, expressing your personality, and showing that you're not just stats and you're not just words on a sheet of paper, like you're a real person with real experiences. So that's what I tried to get through in my essays, and just really tried to touch on my identity, who I was, how I grew up, and what I was passionate about. And luckily it all worked out for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to read more of my essays or get a clue on how I answered some of the other prompts for QuestBridge or for Stanford, or basically all the other schools I applied to, you can go ahead and click the link in my description or click the link in my Instagram bio. They will both take you to the same place. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram if you have any questions, and I will see you guys on Monday.